Thursday means it's time now for our Neblett, Beard and Arsenault Legal Difference segment. Attorney Wes Gralapp joins us once again. We begin a conversation about wrongful death and survival action and learn more about it and tell people what it actually means. So Wes, good to have you on the show. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark. You know, this is always a difficult topic, but it's important for our viewers to know what their rights are when tragedy strikes. There's never a more emotional moment for me than when someone calls or comes into the office and tells me about the loss of a loved one. And it means so much, not just to them, emotionally, but also it turns their world upside down. Both financially and how do they depend on others when they lose them. So we want to talk a little bit about how the law provides for you when you have a unfortunate situation, tragedy strikes, and you lose a loved one, especially a provider. What happens in a wrongful death suit is let's assume that there's an automobile accident where someone loses the father of the household. Well, his wife and children have the right to file a claim for wrongful death and survival actions. And there's various compensations that people can receive as a result of that. Mostly the compensation that is important to the family is for their financial loss. And we have a provision in the law where the lost wages of the decedent are paid to the wife and children who remain behind. And then there's also the emotional loss, the pain and suffering, the anxiety, the extreme trauma that you go through when you lose someone unexpectedly and as a result of someone else's fault. And that damage is paid by insurance companies as well. And that's what it involves. It involves that pain that you suffer when you lose that loved one.
And as far as punitive damages, they're recoverable in wrongful death actions?
That's a very good question, Mark. Punitive damages are limited in Louisiana. Most of the time we'll see punitive damages available to people who lose a loved one when there is alcohol involved in an automobile accident. If someone is driving drunk, then they are subject to paying punitive damages.
Are there time limits, Wes, for bringing a wrongful death lawsuit?
Yes, there is. Louisiana has one of the shortest time limits to file a lawsuit in the country, and that's 1 year. So it's very important that once you show your respect for your loss, that you get in touch with a lawyer right away and find out what your rights are so that they can be preserved.
And as far as an attorney goes, this can be difficult to navigate when someone comes to you after losing a loved one in a car accident.
It is very difficult, and you need to make sure that you trust the lawyer that you hire. Over the 28 years I've done this, I've probably handled more than 50 wrongful death cases. None of them are pleasant. But the law surrounding them can be complex, and it's a difficult time. And there's no better person to have than a trusted attorney on your side to make sure that you get what you deserve.
What about, Wes, as far as suing for the pain and suffering of a loved one? Obviously that happens. That's a real issue.
That's what the law refers to as a survival action. And not every instance where someone dies is the death immediate. Oftentimes people will suffer long, enduring pain while they're still alive, and the right to recover for that pain belongs to the spouse and the children.
Well, what is survival action again, Wes? What's the definition of survival action?
So oftentimes we'll see people are injured in an accident, and then they will go to the hospital and they will live 3 to 5 days, 10 days, but they still die as a result of injury sustained in the accident. Well, that time in which they remain alive and suffer is what is called the survival action, that pain and suffering suffered during that time. And let me tell you something, most of these people know that death is near, and when they suffer pending death, they certainly have a right to be compensated and well compensated.
I can imagine, yeah. Who can file a survival action, Wes?
The law recognizes a series of people, and so it's fairly simple. If there is a spouse and or children, then those people have the exclusive right to recover. If there is no spouse nor children, then it falls to the parents of the decedent, and then it continues down the line until it would eventually fall into the estate. But basically, the claim exists for those people who are what we commonly refer to closest of kin or next of kin.
Yeah, and that leads me to this, and survival action compensation, what does it cover?
It covers, exactly what it says about surviving and
the survivors, yeah.
Yeah, if you survive a serious crash for a period of time, the law does recognize the right to recover, and that right belongs to the next of kin, because the person who is suffering obviously passes.
All right, Wes, thanks for joining us. Some good information on a difficult subject to cover, that's for sure.
It is indeed, Mark, but it's something that our viewers need to know about in the event that they ever suffer one of these horrible tragedies.
All right, again, the best way to get in touch with you, Wes?
Call us at Niblett Beard and Arsenault, 561-2500.
Take care, Wes. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Look forward to next week.
And we've got more to come on this Thursday. Stick around. Good job, Wes. Thanks.